contrast to Barksdale's world, the projects were Barksdale's playground and eventually his place of business. Now, in the hood, he learned some special skills, like how to survive on the street, how to understand the rules of conduct. However, his school teacher mom wanted a better life for her children, and she describes how she tried to expose young Barksdale to things outside of the projects. In school, that exposure landed Barksdale in some hot water.
We used to go to the museum and places like that, and they always had all these nude pictures. He drew a nude picture, and the teacher called me in. He had this nude woman. He was 5 years old, and she thought that was the worst thing. And I was trying to explain to her that's art, and it is. And when you go to the museum, mostly those nudists, you remember the old Greek nudists? They're nude, and I guess he must have liked it.
Like many parents, Barksdale's mom used to talk to Bodie about a lot of things.
It was good. It was all right. We used to have a lot of, we had a lot of fun. Come home, cook dinner, everybody sit around the table and talk about the events of the day, what they learned, what happened here and there. It was pretty good. We went out a lot. When he was 13 years old, I had just finished up community college and started at another school, University of Baltimore. So, I was carrying like full credits. So I did have that. And I just believed wasn't no police is coming. He was going to school every day. He was getting good grades. You understand what I'm saying? So there was no reason to be alarmed. I got alarmed when the police broke the door down.
The young Barksdale's hood slowly started to overpower his mother's efforts to keep him on the straight and narrow. Now, she says she was just caught up with trying to maintain multiple jobs to make ends meet, divorce, and a dependency on her older sons in the family to care for young Barksdale while she worked. Keeping him out of trouble was quite a challenge. He began scheming to perfect his pickpocket hustle.
I beat a Vic for a wallet, and I had got away, got to the projects, and usually when you got to the projects, they would stop chasing you. Got to the projects, but it was this one cop. He was known in the projects, and he chased me and caught me. Yeah. He turned out to be a terrible motherfucker. He years later, he had killed a bunch of people and shit. They were scared of him. Dangerous pool. I lucked out. He didn't kill me.
But Barksdale had bigger plans than being the king of pickpockets. He wanted to make more money. He became a paper boy too, but one paper route just wasn't enough. At a young age, he demonstrated his business savvy and leadership skills. Barksdale says he organized his own group of boys to muscle out competition and seize territories of other paper boys over a wide area.
We were kids, and we had a gang. We were the 40 Thieves, right? And in the projects. And, they sold, 3 or 4 major newspapers. Before we got a hold of it, it was some minor guys, some weaker guys. They had it. It was like 4 or 5 different. But for each one of those papers, I told you, it was like 2 different crews of kids that controlled one of those routes, and we just consolidated it. We took it and made it, work. But we brought them all in with us, though.
Oh, okay.
Nobody died,
When Barksdale wasn't throwing newspapers, he was busy practicing his hustle. One led to a horrible tragedy.
He was about 11 years old. They were playing on the rec lot. And I was like in school. I had just started community college. And I was upstairs washing clothes, and they ran and told me he had had an accident. And what had happened, it was one of those, they used to have these x-ray buses. The city would send them out. Those, I guess, anyway, this driver, he was playing this game. The kids get on back of the bus, and then he back it up, and they jump off. This is the way they told it to me. I always really wanted to know what happened.
Barksdale now reveals what he says really happened. He had been constantly stealing from a man who regularly drove through the neighborhood. He was even bold enough to steal the man's lunch and sit on the back of his vehicle to eat it. But on this day, the man just had enough. He managed to get into the vehicle fast, throwing it in reverse and smashing Barksdale's leg against the wall. Barksdale's foot was crushed. He eventually lost his foot. And several surgeries later, he lost his leg as well. You know, the newspaper clippings say, even with the loss of his leg, he moved extremely fast. It didn't stop Barksdale's activities, and it may have hardened him as a hustler, and he would discover later that it helped him in court. Hustling and newspaper routes didn't come close to satisfying Barksdale's needs and desire to have more money in his pocket. He seized the opportunity to become a drug runner and a lookout. Drug lieutenants like using them because typically they were so young and immune from adult prosecution. Their punishment, if they happened to be caught by the police, was short and sweet. I mean, we're talking a few months tops in a camp-like setting at that. They could quickly be back out on the street, and they earned their rite of passage. Punishment dished out by Barksdale's mentor was allegedly quite different. Newspaper reports say that major West Baltimore drug dealer Frank Harper is accused of using torture, fear, and murder to keep people in check. Unfortunately for Barksdale, learning the tricks of the trade from Harper came with big risks. The same news article says that Barksdale and two other boys were accused of stealing and not turning over all the money they collected to Harper's lieutenant. Barksdale denies they kept money that didn't belong to them. However, that wasn't the story that got back to Frank Harper.
What's going on, man?
Look, we got a problem, man. Bodie, Mirando, Geronimo, man, things out of order. It's crazy. We missing money.
What the fuck you mean we missing money?
Yeah, we missing money, a lot of money, man. Missing your money.
You ain't missing my money. What money? How much am I missing?
About 30,000, I think. I'm not sure.
Look, fuck all that. I want all them little motherfuckers. Bodie, Miranda, Geronimo, whoever the fuck else be with them, man. You go get them, take them to the basement. I got something for them. Go take care of that, man.
Barksdale described what would happen next as being the scariest moment of his life.
A guy locked me in the basement. I was like 12, 11, and that guy locked me in the basement with some dogs, and they beat me up. I was a kid, you know. So that would have been like, you know, the scariest moment because I couldn't defend myself. I was a child. Yeah.
Frank Harper used dogs as a weapon. Each boy was abducted and forced down into a basement at gunpoint. Harper added another terrifying element: a vicious dog not in the best of moods. Barksdale was the last one picked up. When Barksdale arrived, one boy escaped. The rest of the boys had to make a choice: take a bullet to the head or face man's best friend.
You know, boys don't come with to their mothers with stuff like that. When I heard about that, she was in prison.
But the emotional scars left by the incident stayed with Barksdale like an open sore. It would be difficult for anyone to forgive an adult who puts a dog